Welcome back to the Kovacs Report, comic book review show with my good buddy Jimmy X. So, to everyone who's joined us for the first time, we do spoil the books. We tell you what happens in them. So, read them if you got them before you come and see us. Let us know what you think in the comments. Tell us if you believe us or you disagree with us. And we're straight into a mixed bag of comics this week. So, Jim, straight into the Vampocalypse, yes? Let's do it.
Yes.
Put, put me out of my misery, my friend. Put me out of my misery.
Okay, so kicking off with Black Panther Blood Hunt issue 2, published by Marvel, written by Cheryl Lynn Eaton, with art by Fareed Karami, and a nice cover there by Andrea Sorrentino.
Nice
So,
cover. Probably the best thing about the book, right?
Sorry?
Probably the best part of the book is the cover.
So to recap Blood Hunt and the first issue of this mini-series, it's a 3-issue mini. Blade has turned Black Panther into a vampire after an attack on the Avengers. He's used their impossible city, which is the Wakandan headquarters thing the Avengers use, to send Black Panther to Wakanda to recover a mysterious artifact for him. Now, I wonder what this artifact is. Actually, no, I don't wonder what this artifact is, because if you read the core issue of Blood Hunt last week, issue 3, you will know that he's been sent to recover the Temple of the First Blasphemy, and he does recover it.
So they spoil it a week before this comes out.
Literally, it's a case of bad scheduling on the part of Marvel here, and it upset me. It really did upset me.
I mean, what's the point of reading it now if you know you found it? Oh God, this is typical Marvel at the moment.
I mean, there's still some cool stuff to be found. So
Go
anyway,
on, what happens next?
T'Challa is in a nature reserve in Wakanda being attacked by a real Black Panther, and he's saved by Bast, so that was no conflict there, no point of that cliffhanger whatsoever. Who's decided to help him, despite being against him in the last issue, because, you know, gods are fickle, I guess. So there's a flashback to millennia before, I guess, to Varney, he's an all-powerful demon, using his demonic powers and influence to fool the Wakandan citizens into believing that he's a god. Now, Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon, he finds out about this because he's using chains, and they take in the moonlight or something like that, and he's aware, hyper aware of this. So he takes it to the pantheons of other ancient African gods. They all team up in the past to seal Varney in the Temple of the First Blasphemy, which is what Blade is after in his master plan. Shuri is also pleading with Doctor Doom to let Wakandan refugees in, because she's got an artificial sun that keeps keeping the vampires out, but it's not going to last forever. And Doom's like, well, hang on a minute, no, you're Protector Black Panther. He's a vampire, so why would I trust you, and why would I let your refugees into
Doom
my
has
country,
spoken.
which is, you know, the safest? So, and you can see his point. You really can see his point here. The issue ends with T'Challa and Bast infiltrating Atlantis, only to be attacked by armed Atlantean guards. But you know, he finds the Temple of the First Blasphemy, because, as I said before,
You read it last week.
It came out last week. Yes, that's right.
Thank you,
So
Marvel.
yeah, I like Blood Hunt. I can't wait for issue 4 of Blood Hunt next week, but I cannot recommend this miniseries. I probably won't finish
No doubt
it.
you're going to review it.
No reason
put
to
me
finish
through
it.
this misery again, right? You're going to read it, and I'm going to have to listen to it. Oh God! Right, moving on to more misery. So I had trouble acquiring the books I was going to read this week, and the way I look at it is that I want to review books that I think are going to be good, right? I don't want to review books that I think are going to be bad. So, in my opinion, Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, who we'll get to later, those books I feel have just been destroyed recent times, right? I tried to substitute the books I couldn't find for these two, right? So Captain America and Iron Man. And they're two of my favorite characters. Iron Man has a long history with me. It was one of the first Marvel comics I ever owned. You know, the first run I collected, you know, Tales of Suspense 39, all the way to every single issue ever of Iron Man, up to the early 2000s before I sold some of my collection. But it's like, so I love these characters. So I picked these books up in the hope that it would get me excited again. And I couldn't even write a review. And the thing is, this is a review show, so I'm supposed to review stuff, even if it's bad. But I don't want to put people through it. Right? So these books are terrible. I don't know who they're written for, but it's definitely not for me. Right? There might be some fans out there who love it, but I just cannot get to grips with it. They're absolutely awful, and I can't wait till new creative teams come on and get these characters back to the days of Warren Ellis, you know, when Warren Ellis wrote Iron Man and when Brubaker wrote Captain America, you couldn't put those books down. They were amazing. But I mean, what do you think, mate? Are you reading any of the core titles?
Well, I do know that is the last issue of Iron Man. It's been cancelled.
Oh, so they're going to reboot it with something else,
Yeah,
probably more politically correct to tie in with
yeah,
some
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
TV
Jerry
show. Movie.
Dugan's run is
All
over.
right,
It's been cancelled.
never
I think
mind.
it was cancelled as well. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? I hope this is Marvel finally listening to the fans, right? Because there's this trend in all entertainment media where it's like if you don't like something, it's not because what we've made is bad. It's because you are bad. You're a bigot. You're a transphobe. Right? You're something. It's something. It's your fault, not us. Right? And that's what I hope Marvel have gone. Hold on a minute, because Marvel is owned by Disney, who are the worst offender in this arena of telling the fans that there's nothing wrong with what they're putting out. It's all you, yeah. But they want you to spend your money on their stuff, right? But anyway, little rant over. So hopefully next week my books I'll be able to catch them and we'll do some really good reviews. But let's move on to your next one. I've got a couple more to review anyway. So what I was quite surprised you were gonna want to review this Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime. What's going on here, Jim? Got something to tell me?
Can you not tell I'm a massive Disney shill? I mean, come on.
Well, judging by your hat, and now realizing I've just shit all over Disney. Oops. But come on, it is true. It is true. It's like, you know. Go on.
Uncle Disney fan here.
I'm sorry, mate.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, this one surprised me when it turned up as well. But here we go. Uncle
Don't tell
Scrooge
me. Don't tell me he turns into a vampire and goes after an artifact or something like that.
No.
Okay,
No.
go on then. Okay, I'm listening.
Please, it's vampire free. What?
All right.
No, it is vampire free.
I hope you're sure. You read it.
So, Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime, issue 1, published by Marvel, written by Jason Aaron. Jason Aaron,
right.
Incoming new Ninja Turtles writer. Wrote for Star Wars, wrote for X-Men, Scalped. Huge, amazing writer. Jason Aaron, yeah. So it's also written by Luca Barberi and from Beyond the Grave, Carl Barks, because it reprints the first ever appearance of Scrooge as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that ties into this in a huge way. So that's why I'm including Mr. Barks in this, in that. With the art by, and these are all Italian names, so I'm really sorry if I brutalize them. Giada Parisanoto, Alessandro Pastorvicchio, and Paolo Motora.
So I'm Italian, right? That's why I'm laughing.
I do know you're Italian. Yeah, that's right. I thought I'd...
Motora, Di Polito, De Giuseppe, Pastoro... I can't see, it's too small on the screen. Oh, Pastoroviccio. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, all these artists are fabulous. They each do a different chapter of this one shot. So that's pretty cool. And also I'm crediting Carl Barks because he drew the original story from the 40s. I mean, come on, you got to give him credit where it's due.
Oh, wow. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, so Scrooge McDuck has a long and storied history as a character. It's first introduced in a comic book form in an issue of Donald Duck in the 40s, spinning off into his own series, Uncle Scrooge. He then made his animated debut in classic animation Mickey's Christmas Carol in the early 80s, before starring in the animated adaptation of the Uncle Scrooge books, DuckTales.
Oh, so definitely not reading off Wiki, by the way.
No. How dare you? I wrote this all myself. Anyway, this sees Jason Aaron tackling this one-shot multiverse tale, and it also reprints the first appearance in full, Christmas on Bear Mountain. So Donald Duck and his I'm going to talk about Christmas on Bear Mountain first to give it context. So Donald Duck and his multicolored cap-wearing nephews Huey, Dewey, and Louie, they're having basically a crappy Christmas with no money to spend on it. Elsewhere, Scrooge decides to test Donald to see if he and his nephews are brave enough to spend the night in his cabin on Bear Mountain. 1940s style Disney hijinks ensue, and Scrooge finally arrives at the cabin to find Donald passed out on top of a bear and his nephews chasing a bear cub out of the cabin. This impresses Uncle Scrooge, and he decides to open his heart, letting them all into his life and sharing his vast wealth and kicking off the Age of Adventure seen in the comics and DuckTales TV show. So anyway, this brand new story, it looks at a reality where this never happened. So it's sort of
A what if?
purposes of what if,
Oh, nice.
but also a multiverse tale. So what would happen with Scrooge? Without his family, he turns into a twisted, bitter character dubbed the Scrooge above all. He only cares about money, and he's basically amassed more wealth than he previously had, plundering all the worlds of treasure, discovering the mirror of worlds. It's an artifact where he can traverse universes, seeking himself out in all realities, and stealing each of his counterparts' lucky dimes. Now, the lucky dime is a key item. It basically represents the first dime that Scrooge ever made when he was shining shoes as a boy in Glasgow.
I remember it from the cartoon.
He built his wealth from that dime, and it's really special to him. So he's jumping. So the Scrooge above all jumps to, I guess we call it the 616 duck verse. He steals our Scrooge's dime and all the Scrooge multiverse money bins. He houses them in a massive structure. You know how big the money bin is, right? He houses them all in a massive structure known as the All Bin, which contains all the money bins and all the wealth of all the multiverses. I mean, go big or go home, Jason Aaron, right?
Mate, this sounds better than Blood Hunt.
So anyway, this forces good Scrooge to use his own mirror of all worlds to recruit variants from the multiverse to stop evil Scrooge and take back their lucky dimes. So basically, you got one's a cowboy, one's a newsboy, one's riding a lion dressed as a Saxon. There's a big battle with Scrooge and Donald from all realities just fighting the Beagle Boys, who are like the typical henchmen from DuckTales that the All Scrooge is employed to keep his all bins safe. The Scrooge overall, he has an infinity gauntlet adorned with all the different number one dimes from all the multiverses, and he's all powerful. Before Scrooge realizes that it wasn't his number one dime that made him special, it's family, adventure.
Of course, it's family.
Connections made along the way that made him who he is today, not a lucky dime. So the All Scrooge realizes after that all dimes are just worthless pieces of silver, and having no friends or family makes him the poorest duck after all.
Exactly.
And they're all just So Huey, Dewey, and Louie suggest that they beat him senseless. bit of bloodlust there from the nephews. But Scrooge is like, no. So they all celebrate Christmas in Duckburg together, and that ends. And Jason Aaron talks in the letters page, well, not letters page, but in the introduction about how he read the Uncle Scrooge stories to his son when he was a little boy, and even though they're still grown, they still both love DuckTales together.
Oh, that's very cute.
It's really cute. It's really, really nice. That's really
what I expect from a book like this. Okay. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I won't be picking it up, obviously. My tastes are a bit more gritty. You get to review 2 in a row this week, Jim.
I do. Well, thanks.
You do, because my books all got messed up. I feel a bit useless. So, look. Done again.
Okay, so Doctor Strange issue 16. This is a Blood Hunt tie-in. In case you wondered, there's a nice vampire.
No, I got the idea. I got the idea.
In the front. Yeah, I might have tipped you off. So anyway, obviously it's published by Marvel. What isn't published by Marvel this week? We'll get to that later. Written by Jed MacKay, who's also writing Blood Hunt and is the incoming new X-Men writer. Art by Pascal Ferry, and Pascal Ferry's a brilliant artist. I remember in Adam Strange and other projects in the early 2000s. With a cover from Alex Ross, and Alex Ross has still got it. I forgot to mention, he did the cover for Uncle Scrooge as well.
Oh, let's just go back to that, shall we? That was Alex Ross. Do you know what? I didn't even know, and I'm a big Alex Ross fan. Wow, looks really cool. Yeah. Back to Blood Hunt.
So previously Doctor Strange was betrayed by Blade, became a vampire. Luckily, his quick-thinking wife and powerful sorcerer Clea, she separates Strange's astral form from a vampire-possessed body, holding it in place so it can't escape the sanctum. Okay, so that was what happened in the previous issue of Doctor Strange. So this issue, you think, okay, so we're finally gonna have Doctor Strange find a way to get rid of this vampire version of himself, because he's still operating in the astral form. But no, Clear and Doctor Strange are not in this issue. I guess read Blood Hunt next week to find out where they went.
Okay, so another mindless tie-in that does nothing, basically, right?
I haven't finished.
Oh no, there's more. Okay, go on then.
So anyway, this issue focuses on the characters of Wong, and stay with me here. I know this is a lot. Strange's brother Victor. Okay. Who, when this issue starts, is the disembodied ghost of a vampire.
So is his disembodied ghost of a vampire going to fight Strange's disembodied body?
His disembodied ghost of a vampire. So Blade, or the thing that's taken over Blade, astral projects. As far as I know, Blade can't astral project, so that's a big tip-off. It is not Blade. Informing Victor of the vacant vampire body, ripe for taking, and take it he does. So Wong and Victor, they clearly have some history together, as Wong goes into an epic fight, and he's about to stake him, but then he realizes that if he does that, he kind of kills Strange as well, because Strange's body.
Oh.
So so he realizes he can't do it, and then he runs off, pursued by Victor. I guess in the last issue of the Blood Hunt tie-in that's coming out next month. But anyway, my favourite page, let's save till last. Last page hints that Baron Mordo, a big black yellow snake, and something I can only suggest, I can only describe him as a Force Ghost Bloodhound. They're the only ones who can save the Sanctum.
Oh my god, bottom of the barrel stuff, isn't it? Shall we jump to the next one, mate? I can't do any more Blood Hunt this week.
Okay, no more.
Oh no, I forgot we were jumping to Amazing Spider-Man. Okay, so Marvel, as you know, Amazing Spider-Man 52, the core long-running main Spidey book, written by Zeb Wells, art by Todd Nowak. So anyway, for the first time in years, Amazing Spider-Man has me super, super excited, Jim. Can you guess why, Jim?
Because
nope. It's not the story. I know you're going to say it was a story, right? Nope.
What? I wasn't.
you were going to say the art, weren't you? You were going to say the art. No. Maybe the colouring or the lettering? No, you'd be wrong suggesting that, Jim. I'm happy because finally Amazing Spider-Man's fans' prayers all over the world have been answered. They've been answered in the best possible way. So I'm proud to repeat the reveal that Zeb Wells is off Spider-Man this autumn. Apparently, though, with a Spidey's Most Brutal Battle, which obviously means garbage, right? But finally, Zeb Wells is off this book. I mean, he has spent 2 years dismantling everything that you love about Spider-Man. And honestly, again, I can't even explain how excited I am, armed with this information, all right? Because that little nugget of information helped me from self-harming my way through reading this book, because I was reading through it and I actually wanted to hurt myself. That's how bad it is. Anyways, Kraven the Hunter is tracking down this weird spider goblin, Peter, right? As you know from the last issue, he got gassed by Norman, and not the last issue, a couple of issues ago, he got gassed by Norman. He's turned into this weird amalgamation of the Green Goblin and Spider-Man, right? Okay, so you know now, right? Anyway, he finds him and Spider Goblin's having this fight with another forgettable character, Chasm, right? And that goes through the whole issue as those two fighting. It's interspersed with not much. But anyway, fast forward, Norman's framing Peter by signing over ownership of some dodgy tech, into Peter's name, so that, Peter's name gets dragged through the mud. Kamala Khan, the least favourite Miss Marvel that nobody likes, teams up with Robbie the Robot. Hold on, I mean not the living brain, the walking brain now, as well as J. Jonah Jameson, Dr. Connors, and Wreck Rap. If you don't know who Wreck Rap is, right, he's a demon with a Spider-Man fetish who bonded with none other than Marvel's favourite trope right now. Have you guessed? A symbiote, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, everyone's got a symbiote now. It's like TikTok. Anyway, they've all teamed up to uncover the truth behind what's going on in the issue. There's another long punch up between the Spider Goblin and Chasm, but that finally ends, and they find this magic spear that's been integral to this whole plot that's weaving together how Norman became bad, and maybe it's powering Spider-Man to be bad. And then he snaps out, he's Spidey again, and he's off to spank Norman for being naughty. That's literally it. You know, what an absolute shocker, right? Story awful, art awful, colouring awful. It's just another vomit-inducing nightmare by Zeb Wells, right? Because like I said, has spent the last 2 years ignoring fans and being an arrogant, narcissistic, fan-hating troll, right? So that's all coming to an end now. And I have high hopes. I have high hopes that the new creative team can go some way into repairing the damage that Zeb Wells has done and winning back the trust from our fans, because we love our all-time favourite friendly neighbourhood web-slinging Spider-Man, right? And they need to do something about it. Yeah. So for all you viewers there who are confused about my review, I hated it. And I couldn't be more happy that Zeb Wells is getting kicked off the book. Yeah. All right. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Moving on to more Spider people. You read Spider-Woman 8, didn't you, mate?
I did, yeah.
What's going on with Spider-Woman 8?
Spider-Woman 8 by Marvel. Excuse me. Written by Steve Fox, with art by Ig Guerrera, and cover art by Lionel Francis Yu, who I remember his interiors of Secret Invasion. Just beautiful work. Okay, so we're centering on Jessica Drew, the original Spider-Woman.
Good.
Yeah. So last time I read Spider-Woman back in the early 2000s, she was pregnant.
That's right.
And it was a really, really good run.
It was a great run, in fact. It reminded me of like the She-Hulk run that they did before then as well. It just had that like humour and laughter to it, mixed with a bit of dark and a bit of light. It's so good.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I got excited about a good Marvel book.
So this being Spider-Woman and this being Marvel, her infant son's been aged up and turned by Hydra into a supervillain, the Green Mamba, and she's been trying to find him. So the trail has led to San Francisco. And she's been investigating a Hydra shell company, a suspected Hydra shell company called Echidna. She came into conflict with classic Incredible Hulk villain Zax, who's made of electricity. I remember him from an old Incredible Hulk annual that I read when I was a kid, so that was quite fond memories. And then a new young team of superheroes, think the Young Avengers reboot, sort of, called the Assembly turn up and rescue her. And that was how the last issue ended. So when this issue starts, there's a huge headline, Super Team stop electricity demon. Madam Web also present, which she's quite upset about being compared to Madam Web. So the Assembly, they're all... they're all classic. They've all got ties to classic Marvel heroes. So, for example, there's Cadet Marvel, who's like what Captain Marvel sort of thing. Titan, who is a young Hulk. Moon Squire, my personal favourite, which is a young. Yeah, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Moon Squire and Howrune and Liberty, who's obviously tied to Captain America, sort of thing. And they've all got these what Spider-Woman thinks are elaborate fake backstories that have been concocted because she doesn't trust them. So anyway, Angar the Screamer, who's another classic Marvel villain.
Yeah, I remember him.
Is standing up against Echidna / Hydra, saying, you can't come to San Francisco and push us all around. And so Spider-Woman jumps in, she tries to calm him down. He turns on her, and she's rescued by the Assembly again. Which, she's got to be sort of pissed off with this happening to her constantly now. So Echidna turns out to be the creators of the Assembly. I'm sure you're shocked to hear that. And the issue ends with the reveal that the villains Gremlin, me neither, and Viper, aka Madam Hydra, are behind everything that's going on in San Francisco. I really like this. It's intriguing, and I like the Assembly, and I will pick up the next issue.
Cool. I'm a big Spider-Woman fan, the character anyway, so I might check it out. I stopped reading. I loved it beforehand, like you say, when the other run with like she was pregnant. Is it the porcupine was living in a flat like a babysitter and all that? Oh, this is so good, such a good book. You look forward to it every week. So moving on to Nightwing. Oh yeah. Paul and Grayson, part 2 of 5. So I've said before in previous episodes how much I love Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo's runs. They're brilliant. So I'm going to get straight into it because I love this book. So after the charity event Dick, Bruce, Barbara and Damien were attending goes sideways in the last issue, right? They start evacuating all the guests because there's a fire raging, apparently. Smoke everywhere. In the last issue, it was uncovered that some mafia money, some mob money had been put into the Alfred Pennyworth Foundation, which what this charity event was for, which Dick knew nothing about. So it's a setup, you know, some laundered bad mob money's been put in there to make Dick look bad, right? So that's the kind of where we are. They're all in there in their civvies and their suits. And Heartless, the baddie, he's there, you know, in his day outfit, let's say, you know, his suit and tie, because he's a rich Gothamite, right? He owns a big company, so he's there. Anyway, it's a big shit show. It completely goes south. And as they're trying to evacuate all the people, the reporter that has uncovered this mob money while they were talking in the last issue is hassling Dick. And Dick's like, look, I don't know what's going on. I talked to you after, you know, we've looked after the people, because he's a hero first, right? So Heartless tells Dick that his butler, Gerald, who don't forget, Gerald is a serial killer that has nurtured Heartless since he was a child into even worse serial killer, right? He's like, I can't find him. He went into that room full of smoke and fire. You need to go and like save him. So he's Dick straight in there, while Heartless's cronies are watching it all on camera and feeding him information about what's going on, right? So they turn the security cameras and they start pumping all this gas and smoke into the room that Dick is. And he starts feeling a bit woozy and he sees Gerard's legs sticking out. So he pulls Gerard out and Gerard's all like, surprise, motherfucker, I'm wearing a mask. It's a trap, right? I mean, it's like, okay, really cool. And then Heartless turns up and then Heartless goes, oh, I've gassed you. Yeah, you fall into a trap, wearing his gas mask. And then they knock him out. So what happens next is we next see Heartless and the butler carrying an unconscious Dick outside of the event while the fire rages. And they bundle him into an ambulance, right? And Bruce looks on suspiciously because, you know, he's the Batman, right? And he does that. He looks at everything suspiciously. He knows something's going on. So they do that, which is really cool. Anyway, next thing, I love this book so much, right? Next thing, they've taken the ambulance Nightwing to this other area, and all the baddies are there, and they're going through Dick Grayson's stuff, and they find Dick Grayson's Nightwing mask, and they now discover that Dick Grayson is none other than Nightwing. So they thought, oh, two birds with one stone, right? We all hate Dick Grayson anyway. You know, Heartless wants revenge against Dick for what he did to him while they were kids at school. And they all hate Nightwing because they're baddies, right? So you think, oh, brilliant. Anyway, next thing we see is a SWAT team bursting through a door on the rooftop of some huge building, right? And to find that the reporter we were talking about earlier with a giant hole in his chest, right? And Heartless standing above him with his Heartless gun, which sucks the hearts out of the chest if you're watching it and leaves a big hole, right? But guess what? It's not Heartless. It's Dick Grayson. He suddenly comes out of the stupor of the hallucinogenic weird drugs that they've put him on and realizes that it's a setup. And he's wearing the Heartless mask, Heartless costume, Heartless gun in his hand. He's like, oh my God, I didn't do this. So he bolts to the edge of the roof, right? And if you haven't been reading the book, he's got a bit of a fear of heights at the moment, which developed from another storyline long ago. So he stops at the edge because usually he just leap off the building, right? But he doesn't, which gives the SWAT team time to just bundle on top of him, hold him down. They pull his mask off and they're like, oh my God, motherfucker, it's Dick Grayson. And that's it. I was like, you know what? That was really good. Fast-paced book, really, really fun. I know it's an old idea of setting someone up and putting them in the place of the villain and all that. But even so, it's a tiny thing to overlook because it was just beautifully drawn, beautifully written. I just can't wait to see where this goes. Unfortunately, it is the last arc that these two guys will be working on the book, Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. So that will be sad. But it looks like they're taking the big punch out of it, like defeating this biggest villain that they introduced right at the beginning of the run a few years ago. So 100% great. Get on Nightwing. If you haven't read it already, go and read every single thing these guys have done together because it's one of the best books out there. Absolutely best books out there. So, I think I've got 1,000 words in 2 minutes there because that's how much I love a book when I love a book. So Destro, we don't want to talk about Destro, do we? Should we go back to Blood Hunt?
I mean, if you want.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll let me do that. So, okay, Jim, I know how excited I was about Nightwing, so I'm guessing how excited you are about the next Energon Universe book, Destro. Go for it. Great cover as well.
Yeah, so Destro, published by Image Skybound, part of their Energon Universe line. Written by Dan Waters, not a creator I was familiar with. With art by Andre Bresson and cover art also by Andre Bresson as well. So yeah, to recap what's happened on the G.I. Joe side of the Energon Universe.
A lot.
In issue 2 of Transformers, Starscream kills one of Duke's friends, sending Duke onto a revenge mission, trying to track down these robots, find out who they are. So he tracks down this power source that he assumes is this giant robot that killed his friend, but it's not. It's Mars Industries, owned by Destro, and he's making robotic troopers called Battle Action Troopers. Or BAT for short. Battle
Trademark
Android.
Hasbro.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Battle Android Troopers. They're really cool. They've got no face. It's like you probably know the design, right?
Yeah, I've seen them. They look amazing.
But they've got one, and Duke goes up against it, and it basically nearly kills him. And he's like, "Why did you kill my friend? Why did your giant robot kill my friend?" Destro's like, "What giant robot? I didn't kill your friend. Not one of mine." So anyway, moving to Cobra Commander, he's teamed up with Destro in the Cobra Commander miniseries, and he's using his he's basically given him the energy source, Energon, that he discovered in the swamps with Dreadnoks, to power Destro's Mars Industries high-tech vehicles and weapons. Basically, a collaboration that creates future G.I. Joe nemesis Cobra. So we started an Eastern European country that's not Latveria, honestly.
Of course not.
It's Darklonia. Yes, Darklonia.
Right.
There's revolution, and the revolutionaries don't seem to be doing very well, and the forces of Darklonia are closing in. And oh my God, here we go! A whole freaking army of Battle Android troopers comes in, and yeah, this coup is over. Destro installs his cousin as the puppet prime minister for the country. Why does he want Darklonia? Because I can make a profit out of it. That's why he's done it.
He's a businessman.
So yeah, this doesn't go unnoticed by Cobra Commander. It upsets him. He doesn't want attention being drawn to the secret army that they're creating together. Destro's like, well, where's my company? So, do one. So anyway, James McCullen Destro, the 24th, as to give him his full name, he then visits his ancestors' crypt, pledging to make them proud, and he will not be the first of his name to ever bow to another. And that's a powerful statement. So anyway, the revelation of why he wanted Darklonia is he wants to hold a massive tech weapons fair there, inviting all the many tech companies. There's this bikini-clad model, Miss Carlton Ritz. He's the head of hybrid technologies. He notices that the Energon power source that he has, they make basically his competitors are nothing to him. No one has anything so technologically advanced. The Energon has given him a leg up. And he's also noticed that the co-CEOs of Extensive Enterprises, another big tech company, are absent from the weapons fair. And we learn through a cutaway that they are actually the classic Cobra palindromic twins, Tomax and Xamot. They are the co-CEOs of Extensive Enterprises. The reason for this is very made evident very quickly. The Twins of Terror launch a drone missile strike on Darklonia and the weapons fair, with Destro leaping to save Miss Carlton Ritz from a warhead. Luckily for him, it's a dud. They're all duds. This is just statement of intent. And he grins across his face and he exclaims, "It would appear that I'm at war," as the issue ends.
Nice.
Yeah. This was a lot of fun.
I'm going to read it.
Really good.
I'm going to read it too.
I mean, all the Energon universe books are great, and this is no exception.
Nice. I'm glad you liked it. I was hoping that you would, because I know you'd be disappointed if not. Great. So another good book out from Image. They're doing good. They've also released, I think, all the original run of G.I. Joe in a beautiful
I saw that
set on Kickstarter, and you can get it in two different ways. You get the packaging design like Cobra or the good guys, so G.I. Joe. So that was really cool. So it sold through the roof. I think that's going to be a nice box set for fans. Moving on to Ultimate Spider-Man number 6. Now, I love the last issue. I really loved the last issue, which focused on how this universe's Green Goblin became the Green Goblin. So Jonathan Hickman, as we know, and art by Marco Cecchetto. So Peter is sitting around his breakfast table with his family, and he's covered in bruises and cuts. He's been super banged up, right? Like, he is in a bad shape. He's been hiding his adventures as a superhero from his family, as you know if you've been reading it. Although his young daughter, May, already knows and is trying to keep it a secret the best a child can. Anyway, they want to know what happened to him. So he begins to explain that he now has powers and that his recent adventure was teaming up with Green Goblin to take on the Kingpin at Fisk Towers. So we go back to that story. So Kingpin knew they were coming. And after they crash into his office, obviously, he informs he's been watching them for days on the video cameras, and he doesn't really care because, he's ready for them. So he clicks this like 1980s style TV remote, which drops a cage down on them, which is super cheesy, right? And it's not what I expect from a book that has been so good so far and written by Hickman. But you know what? I'll let that one fly. And he starts pounding the living shit out of both of them. Like, he is like strong. He is destroying them to the point where Spidey can't take it anymore, and Green Goblin is literally like, no, what's going on? That confidence he has through all the other issues, it's gone. Anyway, so he's beating on Peter again, and Green Goblin chucks a bomb on him, which explodes on him and magically removes his shirt, like only a cartoon can, and it reveals this like real ripped body with all this tribal tattooing around him. So he looks full on gangster, you know what I mean? He looks badass. But he explains that he's been enhanced too and he has powers, hence why he's so strong, as he continues to batter the hell out of both of them. So they realise they're losing here. So Gobbo there, he calls in his little goblin guy from outside to blow the whole side of the building out so they can hobble off and escape to hopefully fight another day. Kingpin's like, yeah, what? Bring it on next. So that was pretty cool. So anyway, after Peter eventually comes clean to MJ with this story and the kids that he's a superhero, which they surprisingly take really well, MJ says, oh, can I see the suit, And he's like, yeah, sure. And this is the funny bit. While she's looking at the man in a suit with a giant spider logo on his chest, she ingeniously comes up with his superhero name. Can you guess what it is? You're right. It's Spider-Man. He didn't know what to call himself. He's a man running around with a big spider costume. I'm shooting webs with a spider on him. And he's like, I don't know what to call myself. What do I call myself, Mary Jane? I know, Spider. Anyway, so there's a couple of little tropey bits that I thought was a bit silly and a couple of bit cheesy bits. But anyway, all new, good issue, real fast, super read. I got to the end before I realised. Great art. I think the artist has changed. This Marco Cecchetto really captures the characters so well. Really like the art. The art is a real step up. And the action and the fighting scenes look dynamic. Another step towards a solid run from Hickman, really.
Nice.
So all in all, yeah, I think this run continues to be, in my opinion, the strongest book out of this whole new Ultimate Universe thing that they're doing. And I recommend it above all of them. So that's our books of the week. We got through it, even though we had a few hiccups here and there and couldn't get hold of some books. Looking ahead, my friends.
That's your book of the week, yeah?
Absolutely. Yes. Did I say that?
Okay.
Did I done the book of the week stuff? Hey, Jim, what's your book of the week? Do you know what? I just assumed I knew what it was because I know what it is. Is it Destro?
Okay, well, my book of the week is Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime.
Wow. Okay.
Absolutely
Over Destro?
loved it.
Well, I sit corrected, mate. Okay, mine's Ultimate Spider number 6. However, I'm super excited for next week. Like I mentioned, my favorite thing in the entire world, all of entertainment, pop culture, on level with two of my other favorite things in the world, which are Akira and Watchmen, is Gatchaman, as known by Battle of the Planets in the UK. And finally, Mad Cave released their issue number 1 of the core main title next week, and a one-shot, which is of Ken. Now, Ken is Gatchaman. He's the eagle guy, the white guy with the white costume. Yeah. So I've got 2 Gatchaman books, and I am absolutely over the moon. I pray they're good. I will be in tears if they're not good. And there's other good books. There's Zatanna's coming out, and Nancy Boys, Neil Gaiman's coming out next week. So for me, a pretty packed week. What about you? What have you got coming out?
Yeah, I got to say, I'm really looking forward to everything next week. Blood Hunt issue 4 is out. Union Jack, Blood Hunt issue 2 is finally out.
Do you know what? In all fairness, sorry to interrupt, but I have shit over Blood Hunt every single episode you make. But credit where credit's due. Union Jack the Ripper is absolutely first class. The first issue was perfect and I loved it. So there you go. Well done to, what is it? Is it Kevin Scott? Yeah, Kev Walker. Yeah, amazing. Sorry, what else are you excited about?
Yes, sorry. Void Rivals is back next week. And also DC get into the big summer crossover time because we've got Absolute Power Ground Zero.
Yeah.
A one-shot
So that's kicking off.
Whole Amanda Waller-centric crossover.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
So some good books. So hopefully it won't be a whole episode of me shitting over pretty much everything and you loving everything. So that's it for this week. Let us know what you think. Really want to hear your thoughts. And we will catch you next week as long as everything goes according to plan. Take care, guys. We're out.